do between 12 and 16 seminars over the 4 days. And we have a variety of times. We get 45-minute seminars, 1-hour seminars. We get hands-on and movement, depending on, and what we submit to AKC, they're fine with, because they understand depending on the number of participants, will determine how much time you need to spend on the seminars. Okay. There's 2 seminars presented by the American ShihTzu Club. This one was approved by the American ShihTzu Club back in 2006. And that is when we did this booklet with the help of the American Kennel Club and Stephen Hubble. So I'm going to pass these around. You can all take one. Take one and pass them around. The other PowerPoint presentation we have is put on by the American ShihTzu Club as well. It's a little bit more detailed and it goes into a lot more history than what I sometimes feel we need to do at this point, because you can look up history for yourself as judges if you want to get more involved in the actual breed itself. What we try to cover in this presentation is basic anatomy and what we expect the judges to learn about our breed, as far as what we're trying to teach the exhibitors to present to you as judges. The other handout that we have is the newest form that we did 2 years ago, I think it was, right? Pass those down.
Yes, because we first had them in Florida, in Orlando,
Yeah.
2 years ago, and that was when they first came out, so it's a year and a half ago.
Yeah. And that's just a simplified version of what we think that maybe you'd like to take in your briefcase to the shows instead of having to carry the booklet. I'm not sure this ShihTzu Club will redo the booklet, but when you go through it, it's very self-explanatory, and a lot of the slides you'll see in here. And this presentation has been updated in the last couple weeks to add more, not going to say newer versions, but we tried to teach you what you're going to see in the ring today, not what you saw in the ring 20, 30 years ago. And as much as I like this presentation, it's got a lot more history in it. And if we had more time, I would probably use that presentation. Okay? So, this is the reference that we use for breeders. I know you're judges, but this is what we'd like the breeders to look at and to keep in mind when they're breeding dogs and trying to sell dogs, and even as show dogs. I don't recommend they sell them as show dogs personally, but if you could pass these around too, and it's another handout for you. And that was just done, last year I think we did that one.
Yes,
Yeah.
1 year ago.
Yeah. So, like I said, this was originally done in 2006 as a follow-up to the illustrated guide. Stephen Hubble, I don't know if all of you know Stephen Hubble, but he's the one that is responsible for a lot of the sketches. And the AKC worked with us at that time to do some of the, if you go in the back of the guide, you'll see the sketches that AKC helped us with. So these are the members of our committee. I'm currently the chairman, and I was the chairman of the illustrated guide when we did it back in 2006, along with Joe Walton. A lot of the photos you're going to see in here are from 2006, but they do pertain they're still relevant today. It took a lot because I took fully coated dogs, and within 20 minutes I stripped them right down and we took photos. And we had the footprints put on the tables with the dogs in coat, like outline them and put them back in that same position. So what you're going to see is like the real deal. I'm not gonna read a lot of this, you can read it yourself, it's. This is another presentation that we sometimes use for breeders at our specialties. We do have breeder seminars and we have judges seminars. I don't like to combine them both because you get mixed reactions, you get mixed questions. The breeders are asking one thing, the judges are asking something else, and it just doesn't work. And I'm not gonna read the standard. You have them, you've all read it, right? You know what it says. Fault judging. I know we all fault judge, even myself as a judge, and I've been judging for 30 years. In Canada, I'm an all-breed judge. In the USA, I am now only legal to judge toy dogs because I changed my address. I had to go back to scratch. So, but I could judge all breeds around the world. We all fault judge. As breeders, we fault judge. As judges, we fault judge. Please, try to pick the positive before the negative, okay? You have to start with an ideal of a Shih Tzu in your mind. And if you go to enough shows, even if you're coming tomorrow, you're gonna see various types of dogs. Tall, short, long, low, happy, not so happy. But you have to, in your mind, think of what your idea is.
Create your picture.
Yeah. We're not all experts. We want you to learn the finer details of what our breed is about. They're toy dogs here, they're non-sporting dogs in Canada, and they're companion dogs around the world. So, keeping that in mind, when you go to judge a toy group here, are they similar to the Cavalier in size or the Maltese in size? Our standard has a wide variation of size and weight. You have to decide in your mind which one you like. So this is the illustrated guide. And, you know, hopefully you're all coming in with an idea of what the Shih Tzu breed is all about. I don't know if you've been showing dogs yourself or breeding dogs, but Shih Tzus are toy dogs for most people, a smaller breed. That doesn't mean they're fragile. We want them sturdy. We want them to be self-assured and to stand their ground, but still be licking your face and sleeping in your bed. You all know basic structures, so I don't have to go down that road, right? Your general dog terms. And you've read the standard one. Speaking of general dog terms, this is one of my hang-ups, but I judged with AKC for 24 years as an all-breed judge. And I had to go back to general dog terms. I had to do the canine anatomy test, all that BS. So it's a sore spot for me. Anyway. So you have the illustrated guide. Okay. So the history, this other presentation goes into a lot more history than what I'm going to go into. Shih Tzus are lion dogs from China. How they came into America, which wasn't until 1969, I believe.
They were accepted in 1966.
They were accepted in
I
1966.
think they came in the 30s,
Yeah.
probably.
They were more or less smuggled in.
After the war.
Yeah, after the war. Okay, so I've judged in China 8 times. I've never seen a Shih Tzu on one of their art museums anywhere. So they have a history, and some of the other presentation goes into comparing the ShihTzu to the Lhasa Apso, the Tibetan Spaniel, not
And the Pig.
necessarily the Pekingese, the Pug, Tibetan Terriers. They all have the same history, the same background of where they come from. There's a huge difference in those breeds. However, I find judges do have a problem with, if I were to give you two dogs in a ring, a Lhasa and a ShihTzu, you have to know the difference. Not everyone can know the difference. I've had Lhasas and ShihTzu rings back in the 80s, and ShihTzus and Lhasa rings, the
Yeah.
type, yes. I've had the short-faced Lhasas, the down-faced ShihTzus, you name it, it's mixed.
And honestly, their head types are totally different.
They're totally different.
Totally different.
But unless you learn, which is the main aspect of the ShihTzu breed, is its head, is what differentiates it from the Lhasa, the Pekingese, the Tibetan Spaniel. Going back a little bit, when I first brought in my two dogs from England in the late 70s. They were English imports from Great Britain. One was very nice, one was not so nice. One was a good producer, the other one I sort of wrote her off. But the one that wasn't the good producer, I had ShihTzu puppies that were Pekingese in type. They had the short face, no hair on their face. They had no hair on their legs. So in the 1950s, the ShihTzu was crossed with the Pekingese in Scandinavia to shorten the legs on the ShihTzu because they were getting too tall. They were going more to the Tibetan Spaniel, Tibetan Terrier look, okay? So they introduced them in Scandinavia, they bred them back to the Pekingese. And that was in the 50s, and even in the 70s, when I bred this bitch, who was from Scandinavia, imported to Britain, I got Pekingese type ShihTzu. No hair on their legs. They were party colored, because you can get party colored Pekingese, right? And it was like mind-boggling, shocking, because I'd only been in the breed like 3 or 4 years at that point. And so that was a write-off, but she went away. So that's, when you think of the ShihTzu, you have to keep in mind the Tibetan heritage. And they were brought in by the diplomats as pets. It was a corrupt symbol of wealth. So I think what happened was a lot of the military from overseas brought the dogs in, like sort of smuggled them in. So it took us a while to get them registered, and that's why it took a long time to get them registered with AKC, for an example. They were registered in Britain and Canada well before they were brought into AKC, which was in 1969.
They kind of lumped them as OPSOs.
OPSOs, yeah.
In England. And,
Well, I think in Canada, even they were registered
Yeah.
and in the States, they were registered as Lhasa Apsos originally when they came into the country.
And if
Lhasa Terriers.
Lhasa Terriers, yeah.
Yeah.
Lhasa
yeah.
Terriers, and the two breeds were commingled. They thought they were all
Right.
one breed, and then they realized.
And AKC, the National Club did way back when, before full recognition, want them in the non-sporting group, and AKC was opposed to it because they felt like there'd be too much confusion with the Lhasa Apso, which was in that group. Personally, I'm happy we're in the toy group, but that's
Yeah, but see,
but
where
the
I'm
rest
from
of the
in
world,
Canada,
but
we're
I
still
know,
in the non-sporting
I know,
group.
exactly, and the
Yes.
rest of the world, they are in a non-sporting containment
Yeah.
type group. We're the only country.
Yeah.
Now,
That's
remember,
really
how
cool.
many years has it been? Remember when we voted on, it was sent to the membership, did we wanna stay in the toy or go to non-sporting, and the membership voted
Oh,
to
yeah,
stay in the
everyone
toy?
wanted-
Yeah,
But that's when they were looking at realignments and
yeah.
making 10 groups and this and that.
Yeah, so it gives you the 1949 and coming into the country and.
And those two types were very different. the English and the Scandinavian.
Oh, definitely, even
Way
today,
back then.
when I judge in Scandinavia, it's almost, or at Crufts, if you ever have been to Crufts, the ShihTzu doesn't look like the ShihTzu you're gonna see in the ring
English
today.
stock was long and low, and
Long
still
and
kind of
low.
is.
The top lines are horrible, they have gorgeous tail sets and big heads,
Big heads.
but they have not maintained their structure whatsoever.
Yeah, they
The
don't have
Pekingese
straight
front-
legs either.
No, the
They've got
Pekingese
very,
fronts, which drops
yeah.
down the whole front assembly
Yeah.
and the top, oh, it's, yeah.
yeah, and about this long.
So the miscellaneous class in 1955. And then the toy group in 1969. This is one of the main parts I want you to remember on the breed. And it's what I'm trying to do right now with the club is to try to work on this a little bit more, tweak it,
Mm-hmm.
so we have a handout that like goes into a little bit more depth on what we're trying to explain here. But if you keep these 5 characteristics in your head as to what the ShihTzu Club wants you to think of when you see a ShihTzu. Temperament is foremost. They're not Lhasa Apsos, they're not Tibetan Terriers. We want a happy, lick your face, waggy tail, loves the world.
Happy to be gone over.
Happy to have gone over.
More than happy to
If
let
a
you
stranger
check
walks
their
in your
bag.
house, you're his best friend. And unfortunately, if the stranger walks down the street, they don't care. They love them anyway. Which, you know, we don't want all dogs just walking away with other people, but so affectionate, friendly, and trusting. Now this is what differentiates between the breeds, the Tibetan Spaniel, the Pekingese, the Lhasa, the ShihTzu, is the head. What I try to teach people is, and we do this in a lot of judges' educations, you'll see a slide, name the breeds, just on black silhouettes. And if you can't, then you have to go back in and study these breeds better.
Mm-hmm.
The ShihTzu is a head breed. So you can tell by going over a ShihTzu, it's not a Pekingese, it's not a Lhasa, it's not a Tibetan Terrier or a Tibetan Spaniel. The ShihTzu is a head breed.
I have a question about the head.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want more of an upturned nose?
No,
with the-
no.
Because the
certainly-
pictures that I've seen are
but
showing more of an upturned.
Your nose leather can give you a slight appearance of a slight tilt, but it really, but this placement of it's critical. Should never be below the lower eye rim, and they should not at all slope down. It should be basically straight out. Would you not say?
Oh yeah, no, the muzzle, when a ShihTzu is moving, the muzzle must be level with the ground.
Yes.
Mhm.
You don't want them looking up, you don't want them looking down, and you want a good thumb width on the muzzle. Think of your thumb when you go in from the side, because I don't want people going in like this. I want them going in from the side so that the nails don't interfere, and no more than my thumb, and I've got a big thumb. And you want it flat. You don't want it down, you don't want it up. Up is Pekingese, down is Lhasa Apso. You want it level, level muzzle.
But you want it well placed.
Well
not
placed,
below
and we're gonna explain
lower
that,
eye
where
rim.
the muzzle must be no lower than the bottom level of the eye rim, okay? And not so high as to interfere with the eyes, and no roll, like a Pekingese. No higher than the middle part of the eye. If it's any higher than that, you're going to chin, griffon, peak,
Mhm.
okay? We don't want that. Why is this going over one more? Okay, okay. Rectangular. We're not square dogs. We're rectangular. Slightly longer than tall. Now this is the question that even the club is having issues with, because in Florida, I think 15 years ago, we did a measurement clinic to measure length, because they were all saying we wanted to change the standard. We don't want to change the standard. you have to, in your mind, visualize rectangular compared to square. Our rectangular is we want forechest and we want rump, which adds to your rectangular appearance. If you get a square body, you've got no forechest, you've got no shelf and angles behind. We don't want the length, the whole rectangular length within the body. We do want a long rib cage and a short loin, but we want forechest and we want room behind. Level top line. And the longer you get the body, the worse your top line's gonna be. And if you go to places like Europe, you're gonna see long bodies and these top lines that are just like hills. We don't want that, okay? And a high teacup tail. When we refer to teacup, think of your level, the tail coming up and just sitting like this. The handle of the teapot, so you can put your whole hand in that tail. There's enough room, your whole hand can go. So I'll explain that later, but when you're going over a dog, you're gonna go down the top line, and that tail's gonna come up, and you can actually put your hand in, and you're not gonna disturb the tail set. And you're gonna feel the croup, it's gonna be flat, and you can see the shelf behind. So a teacup handle. Where's the arrow? Okay, gait. We want a sound structured dog. We want flowing, smooth, reach and drive, your head held up, but not so high that the muzzle is too high, and your tail held up high over the top line. So it's a picture. They used to refer to it as a ship and sail. The Chinese used to refer to it as a ship and sail, with the head carriage and the tail, so it's floating around the ring, okay? Long, luxurious, and double-coated. Now, I'm sure I was asked the question today. We want a long double coat. So if you're judging a class of dogs, if puppies, you're gonna have a double coat, it's not gonna be long. If you're judging a veterans class, you're gonna have a long single coat, most likely, because the veterans don't maintain their undercoat, okay? We've had experience with AKC, 2 judges put up a dog that had been 10-bladed, its whole body, to 4-point majors. That's why that letter went out to AKC. You cannot determine double coats, long flowing coats on cut down dogs. We only allow them in our stud dog and brood bitch classes. That's it. A 6-month-old puppy must have 6-month-old length. And the longer you're in it, you'll realize the different stages in the classes as to what coat to expect. You'll see that tomorrow. Usually by the time the dog is a year old, their coat is almost to the floor. By the time they're 4 or 5 months old, you see a double coat. It's there automatically. Long, luxurious, and double coated. But your long is with maturity, luxurious is the feel. We don't want Havanese coats. We don't want Pekingese coats, terrier coats, or cottony coats. We want luxurious means it drapes. So when you see judges sometimes come in with their brush and they lift it like that and the coat just drops, that's good. If they go like that with the brush and it stays up there,
It should have weight.
it should have weight. A double coat, too
And
much.
it should have movement too.
Yeah, when the dog's moving, you should be able to see it, yeah. Okay. So remembering the sole purpose of this breed is only as a house pet, companion, that's it. They're not guard dogs, although they pretend to be at times. They should love everyone. There's no strangers. this is very important. If they growl at you, they're gone. If their tail doesn't come up and they're backing away on the table, no, I'm sorry, no ribbon today. And I'm very adamant about that. If the breeders are gonna bring their dogs into you and they're not trained to stand on a table and be touched, that's not true temperament. They should love the world. Okay, so don't award a ribbon. If you wanna put it last in the class and sort of say, sorry, not today, but don't give it ribbons or points. It has to have a tail. You're gonna find different types and styles, even when you watch tomorrow. Some people say you can tell the breeders as to what they bring in, what to expect from them. Your pet people, they just love their dogs. They're gonna come in and show you dogs that they think the world of. You have to appreciate that because that's their life, okay? Sometimes they're not presented the way you think that they should be presented, but you can't judge totally on presentation. You have to judge on temperament and soundness first. So your general appearance, does it look like a Shih Tzu? When they come in looking like a Lhasa Apso, no. And once I don't know if you're Lhasa breeder or Lhasa judges in here, there's a huge difference. The Shih Tzu head is round, the Lhasa head is rectangular. The Shih Tzu head, the muzzle is level, the Lhasa is down-faced. You're gonna find down-faced Shih Tzus. You will.
More planes on.
More planes,
Lhasa
yeah.
than you don't want that at all.
No. And I'll get into a little bit more of the head types because
Yeah,
you're gonna get those too.
we have some amazing drawings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tight balance and soundness, yeah. I don't want this one. So you have to get in your head the type of Shih Tzu that you like and be appreciative of the other types in the ring. Even though you may have come from an area across the US where you were studying and learning and you saw one type of dog, but then you come to the East Coast and you're gonna maybe see a different style of dog. You have to learn to be able to appreciate both types. Okay. Oops, no. Okay. So the general appearance is the combination of the three qualities: type, balance, and soundness. Does it look like a Shih Tzu? Is the balance correct? And is it sound? Not just mentally, but physically. Okay? This is an example of a father and son. So the dog on the left is 3 years old. The dog on the right is 1 year old. So you want it to look like a Shih Tzu, not a Lhasa Apso or a Pekingese. Their carriage going around the ring is very, very important because that gives them the,
Just a proud carriage.
proud carriage, like
Their
their shit
royalty.
doesn't stink, let's put it that way. Like they're going around the ring and they own the ring, okay? Not this, well, the world's caving in on me. No, that's not a Shih Tzu. You want them to go around like, I'm here, look at me.
Confident.
This is, yeah.
And they're very athletic going around the ring too, I mean.
They can be, yeah. We've had
I see
agility
that,
and
yeah.
obedience the last few days and, yeah. The club does a lot to promote those activities.
They can perform. The thing is, do they want to? You know.
So again, rectangular, head held high and tail curved over the back. So you want the silhouette. When you look at the, we try to press it so that the silhouette here, that's what you want. The head held high, you can see the tail, and it's a rectangular body. And again, luxurious, double-coated, and flowing. So you're gonna get puppies that the coat isn't flowing, it's sort of just sometimes swaying back and forth because of the bulk or how they're trained. You're gonna see flowing in the adult dogs. The longer the hair, the more it's gonna flow.
I have a question about the neck. With the neck, you're not looking for a U-neck necessarily.
No.
No,
Okay, cause I mean, that's what I'm wondering. Does the
Well,
neck
see what
just
happens with
straight
the
up,
U-neck.
or does it flow
No,
into
what
the
happens
top?
with the U-neck, your nose is tilted up like this and your forechest is out. So the U-neck
Mhm.
is a dead giveaway because your muzzle plane isn't level,
yeah.
Right.
okay? We don't want working dogs, but we want dogs that the muzzle is level when they're moving.
Mhm.
If you get anything higher than that, you're U-necked.
We don't see that many units, I don't think, not like you do in poodles.
Mhm.
The only time we'll see a U-neck though is in puppies sometimes because the handlers are training them to look up at them.
We've seen a special or two that have been trained that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'll see it tomorrow in the ring. You'll see dogs that look like they're U-neck, but when you actually follow that puppy around the ring and watch the puppy stand by itself, you're gonna see a natural carriage. So if you like a dog going around the ring and you think the handler is screwing up because the puppy is up and it's throwing its front because the handler doesn't know any better, try to keep an eye on that puppy when it's just over there by itself and see when the handler's not baiting it up to see if it's just sort of standing around in a natural stance,
Mhm.
okay? Like we all know when we're judging, at least this, and I know a lot of judges are like this, and I know I'm like this. When that class comes around the ring, you either make it or break it on that first go around.
Oh, you know.
Like in my mind, okay, I have to keep an eye on that one and that one. The rest, I hope they, maybe they'll improve, but maybe not, right? So in my mind, I've got two already picked out, first and second. So then I go through the motions, I judge all the other dogs, and I leave them off to the one side. Like I don't hide them behind me. So I'm doing my down and backs, they're over on that other mat, and I'm sort of glancing over every now and then to see what they're doing by themselves. When the
you're
handler's
standing.
not baiting them up and distracting them, and they're just sort of standing there on their own. And that's eye-opening.
Mhm.
So when you're judging, put them off to one side where you can keep an eye out on what they're doing over there, but not really making them think you're paying attention to them,
Mhm.
okay?
If you notice, we stress some of these things quite a few times
Yeah.
early on in the present, because they are important.
Yeah. You're gonna get tall, you're gonna get Pekingese, you're gonna get Tibetan Terriers, and you're gonna get Pekingese. There's you want a medium between. You want maybe Tibetan Spaniel in size. So if you're comparing breeds in your head, Tibetan Spaniel is the closest probably to the ShihTzu in height and length. You're gonna get Tibetan Terriers, you're gonna get Pekingese. So, depending on the age and the group that they're in, like the age group they're in, you're gonna see puppies tomorrow that look like they don't have any legs, and you're gonna see puppies that are tall, but
Moderate is not a bad thing.
moderate is good.
It is good.
Yeah. We don't want them to appear dumpy or squatty, and because then, I don't know if you've ever judged or watched Shih Tzus or Crufts, you'll know what dumpy and squatty means. And we want balance, front and rear. And you're gonna see tomorrow that there's gonna be some puppies in there that are not balanced front and rear, and you can tell it right away when they start walking. They're not working together. Their front's doing one thing and their rear's doing something else, and their top line is all over the place, and yeah.
Of course, any of these dogs would, if they just have to look up at their handler or turn back, they can throw a front off.
Yeah.
They can.
Yeah.
I mean, any breed, I guess, can.
Yeah, and they
but-
can look you down to.
Yeah.
They can look like IGs.
if they're not just
Yeah.
looking forward
One
to.
of the drags of our breed is short upper arms, which gives you
Yep.
this. So I didn't see too much of that the last couple of
No,
days.
but and if they don't have some forechest, how are they gonna have that extension too? And I mean, I know, I'm so used to having dogs having forechest, but showing a lot of other dogs, I was like,
Yeah,
where it
and
at?
I'm gonna go into this
There's nothing
forecast.
for me to grab.
Yeah, we want the rectangular length up front. We don't want the shoulder blades here and nothing in between.
Mhm.
Okay, so that gives you, when I'm saying balance as far as rectangular, you can tell in this dog he's square from the shoulders to the croup, the base of the tail, and the height, but he's still rectangular. Because his forechest comes up to here, and his rump comes up to here. So when you're thinking Shih Tzu, you can look at toy poodles even. Toy poodles are 10 inches. An average Shih Tzu is 10 to 11 inches at the height of the shoulders. But when you look at a toy poodle, you can see that shelf behind, the rump behind, and the hip bones, the pelvic bones. We want that in a Shih Tzu. You want
The
length
pin-
behind.
pin bone, yeah.
The pin bones, yeah. You see the tail set? I'm not touching that tail. It's just sitting there. You're gonna see a puppy tomorrow, I think, and you're gonna think, well, that tail can't be right. The tail's gonna come over the back and the tip is just gonna sit right there. And it's gonna be flying, and it's gonna come down. It's gonna be flying and it's gonna come down. Compare that to another puppy, and the tail is flat. So keep an eye out for that tomorrow, because it is one of the drags of our breed right now, is flat tails that you can't tell whether they're up or down. We want height in the tail. We want a flat croup and the tail coming up and down.
So how long, so I saw the puppy today with the tail up.
He's 7 months old.
Yeah, I saw him today.
By
so
the time that dog is 10, 11 months old, it'll be
the
fine.
It'll
hair-
be just
that's what I was-
fine.
That's what I was
It'll be
thinking when I was
perfect.
Weight of the
watching
hair.
It'll be
today.
perfect, yeah.
The tail will- the
Teeth
hair
better
will be-
set.
I generally don't even show my puppies till they're 10, 11 months old because of that.
Yeah.
Because I've had them straight up in the air at 7 months old, and they'll sell them as pets, and I'm thinking,
Yeah.
seriously, like,
Yeah,
you want that.
It wasn't offensive, cause he was a lovely puppy, but I
Yeah,
just was like,
you could see
it was
the,
very
will
different
be
than some of
just
the other
fine.
ones.
it'll be fine.
It will be
Yeah.
fine.
You just don't want
And it
the
wasn't
special
heavily
tail.
coated on the
Yeah.
tail.
Well, no, there's
either.
two, when you, in the specials ring, when those, you're gonna see an example coming up. It looked like a flat tail and full coat, but in cut down, it looked high. The weight of the hair and the dog's mental attitude determines how that set
Flattens
is
it out.
with maturity, okay? So even though they're a toy dog, we don't want you to be too forgiving on temperament and soundness. We want soundness, we want good structure. We don't want bad patellas, bad hips, and they're all sneaking into the breed, to a lot of toy breeds and even in Shih Tzu. Definitely soundness. And soundness and temperament is paramount. It absolutely, you cannot put up a dog that is afraid of you when you're going over it or giving you the side look. No. It doesn't work that way. Unfortunately, this is the same dog, but I didn't get the top dog on a good enough angle. So, and he's got a little bit too much hair on him for my liking. Like I did this photo back in, I think, 2008 or something. But that is the same dog. You can see his forechest, you can see his butt behind. He has probably a little bit shorter leg than what I prefer myself, but he's got great depth of chest. It comes down below the elbows. And what I used to teach in a lot of my seminars is what I like a Shih Tzu to be 4, 4, and 4. which gives you a 10.5-inch dog.
You said start that again?
The shoulder blade is 4, the upper arm is 4, and the leg is 4, elbow to ground. That gives you about and if you have the proper lay back of shoulder, that gives you a 10.5-inch dog, which is generally what you're gonna see in the ring, in the specials ring, 10.5 inches. Not as big as a Lhasa, but not, well, they look huge compared to toy poodles in the ring, but they're actually the same size, a 10-inch toy poodle and a 10.5-inch Shih Tzu. But it's just the bulk of the dog which is different. And there, see his tail looked a little bit flatter on top because of the hair and the weight, but he had a gorgeous tail set. What I'll show you farther on too is, see the color on this dog's neck? That is very distracting. You don't see it on this angle, but he looked stuffy at times because of the color. He didn't have the full white collar.
White collar accentuates the neck.
Yeah, you're
and
gonna
can
see
make it
markings tomorrow
look
that are
like
gonna.
they have more neck.
Yeah. It's gonna look like they've got either giraffe necks or no neck or.
Well, you can see how the neck flows into the top line.
Yeah, no, he's a top producer around the world. Everything felt smooth, there was no lumps and bumps. You went down from his neck, you didn't even feel the shoulder blade, you went all the way through. And going down the side, his elbows were so tight, your hand just flowed down the sides. What you don't want is when your hands go down the sides and they hit the top of the elbows. You'll find that. And you're gonna find chests that are above the elbows. Yeah. So the same dog, see, to me, cut down, I probably could have taken maybe another inch of hair
Makes
off
him
of
look
him,
short-legged in that cut.
but he does have straight legs,
Yeah.
okay, and a straight rear. You can see the smoothness going through here, but like your hands just flowed down the sides. So, one thing I'm gonna teach you also is when you're going over the dog, from the front, you're gonna go down the sides, and I want you to take your hand and go in like this onto the forechest. Get a whole handful of forechest, and take your forefingers down to the table. If you can't go down to the table, that's telling you right away you've got a Pekingese front, crooked front legs. And you'll find them. So you want your overall first impression. Does it meet the standard as far as height, length, etc.? Keep in mind why they were bred, temperament, house pets, bed dogs. They slept in palaces and in the sleeves of the Oriental people as bed warmers or at their feet. So if they can't fulfill that purpose, you've got an issue for temperament. And I'm gonna come back to this again. I'm gonna show you 2 or 3 different types. In a ring, you're gonna get a 10-pound dog and a 15-pound dog. You have to know yourself what type you prefer. And we as breeders get to know what judges prefer, like a toy dog or what I call a non-sporting dog or a companion dog. Because you're gonna get both.
But many times both are correct.
They're correct.
Oh,
but
yeah,
you-
they're correct, and within
it's-
standard.
Yeah.
Right, so it's up
Yeah.
to you.
So we have 9 to 16 pounds.
Right.
That's a big range.
And some judges, I don't think as many as in the past. It was toy breed, they wanted it 9 pounds, you know, and
Yeah.
I don't think we see much of that anymore.
The problem with 9 pounds
Most of us
is,
won't keep a 9 pounds.
no.
I've gladly kept it that size
Well,
before.
I have, but the problem with 9
Yeah,
pounders is
yeah.
that they're fine boned.
Yeah.
They're
yeah.
not sturdy.
But I've had them be good,
Yeah.
really great producers and easy.
And some of them we
you know.
call Maltese and drag.
Right?
Right?
Well, mine have
Because-
never been anywhere near that fine bone.
Well-
I've shown a lot of
I
Maltese
know.
just like you have.
I know, but I've seen them and they look like Maltese and
Yeah.
drag.
So I have a question. So with the exception of the tail sets, which you said that probably as he matures to about 10, 11 months, the tail sets, you should fill the teacup. The other features in the breed, at what age can it be very visible when you feel the body? When you feel on the
Oh,
body?
the body?
Yeah.
It depends on the lineage, the pedigree. I've got 6-month-old puppies that are 15 pounds.
Could you repeat the question?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
The
He's
question-
wondering at what age we can determine whether or not they're a proper size and substance.
Some lines develop so
not only the size, but for instance, the rectangular feature, the
Oh, rectangular feature, I gauge mine at 8, 10, and 12 weeks max. What I see at up to 12 weeks, that is my final product.
Yeah.
Mine's 12.
9 to 12. And they're gonna go through some funky stages, the shoulders aren't gonna fall back into place, but the structure between 9 and 12 weeks is what you're gonna get at a year old.
and things like filling the chest
That
area
you have
there
to know
going-
pedigree on.
Yeah.
So if you know your pedigrees, it's bone structure, shape and balance is what we're looking at between 9 and 12 weeks.
Okay.
If that's there, then they stay. If that's not there and their shoulders are up in their neck,
They aren't gonna go
bye.
up neck.
No, they're not
Yeah,
gonna change.
right. But some lines do develop size very quickly.
Very quickly.
Oh,
You can,
Mine typically don't. I like them developing slowly, maturing slowly, personally.
Yeah.
I don't want mine their full size at 8 months. You know, it's,
no, but I've had,
it's
like,
some have.
the
some
black
do.
dog was
Yeah.
15 pounds at 8
Right.
months old,
Right.
right? That
Yeah.
you saw there. He was only 7 months old.
Yeah,
But he never changed after that.
right.
He just sort of matured out and slimmed down, like the weight, I don't
Yeah,
know where it went, but it
tightens and it just
Yeah.
changes, yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
I mean, as breeders, we all have a certain type in our head. And some dogs will come into the ring, but you have to be able to appreciate other breeders' types.
Mhm.
Even though you may not like a 12-pound dog in the specials ring, and I'm going to show you one later, compared to the 16-pound dog, but is it a correct dog? Or is everything balanced?
That's what I was saying, between 9 pounds and 16. You
Yeah.
can have both of those, they're both correct.
Yeah. The problem is the 9-pound dog will look like a bitch in the specials ring, where the 16-pound dog is obviously going to look like a dog.
And you could still have a 9-pound dog that for its size has good bone.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So again, temperament, I can't stress this enough. That's what our breed is based on, just temperament. They're bred to be pets, first and foremost. Please do not put up a dog that is trying to bite you or drops its tail. We don't need that in our breed. We don't want Lhasa Apsos. And the tail has to be carried over the back proudly and arrogant, not down. If they recuperate, fine. But if it's down like more than once and the dog is giving you the side eye as it's going around the ring, no.
Any dog could be shocked by a loud noise.
Yeah.
So
I
a really
noticed
loud
that
PA
today.
coming all of a sudden, or somebody banging a chair, or
Yeah.
a grooming ringside table
But it should
knocking over.
recuperate
But they
to-
should recover.
Yeah, they should
Our
recover.
ring steward today had everybody applauding, and a lot of the puppies did get a little freaked
Yeah.
out by that, you could see. And when the applause stopped, they all
They
recovered.
bounce right back.
They
Yeah,
always
so you have to consider the circumstances in your ring at the time. And like you know when a dog comes in and it's petrified of you. It's looking at you as it's going around the ring. It's not. It's oblivious to anything else that's in there. But if you hear something and it drops its tail and then all of a sudden bounces the handler talks to it and it comes right back up again, that's good. The tell point is on the table. That dog should be looking at you, wagging its tail, wanting to kiss you as a judge, not like you're
Wanting
not.
to jump on you, not
Yeah.
pull away.
So again, the adult, there should be no excuse for any of that stuff. Fear of judge and surroundings, that's not a Shih Tzu. And please, don't put up with it. Okay, so when the class comes in your ring, you're gonna get a variety of sizes and shapes. So you're gonna look at them from a distance. And judges, I think we all have an idea in our mind as to what we prefer. One of those dogs is gonna draw your attention. Of those 3 dogs, right? One's gonna catch your eye. So then they have to go around the ring, they have to perform and all that other stuff. Would you discredit the first dog because of size, the second dog because of height and body, or the third dog because it looks feminine? Those are all things you have to keep in mind as a judge. You wanna make sure that your balance is correct. Are they all rectangular? And they are, if you look at them. It's just 3 different types of dogs. So you've got your, I think he was 12 pounds, 16 pounds, and 10 pounds. The three varieties in the ring. You've got 3 different coats. You've got your double coat. You've got a coarser, more mature adult coat. And then you've got verging on a single coat. Is that single coat because of product and maintenance, or is it a single coat because the dog doesn't have undercoat? Those are things you have to keep in mind also. And you get that by the feel and the weight.
And some do carry more undercoat than others. but
Yeah.
Some carry too much undercoat.
Yeah, and then you get
And,
big
and their
puff
top
balls.
coat's almost like undercoat.
And we don't want cotones.
And that's a
We
bad
don't want
thing.
cotones in our rings.
I have a question too about the croup, which really ties in with the tail. Are these dogs fairly flat in the croup, or
Yeah, the croup itself is flat.
it is flat?
Yeah,
Okay.
and the tail comes up.
It should be, but, I
The
mean.
shelf, it should be high enough set onto the croup that there's no
But if
slope
you've
at
got a
all.
low tail set, you're probably not gonna have a flat croup.
No, yeah, and you're gonna have
And
a
if-
tight tail
and
generally.
you're probably gonna have a foot, legs that are underneath rather than being out.
You're not gonna have any
That
shelf
whole
behind. So if
is
you've got croup,
interconnected.
you've got no shelf,
Mhm.
okay?
Yeah.
So it's not, if it's not flat, that means the tail is down, and that means there's nothing behind.
Yeah,
Okay.
There's no pin bones
yeah.
showing up. Rectangular with head held up, so, yeah, 3 different styles. I like these 3 dogs for different reasons, and as a breeder, I would have to feel them at this point, because they're all representative of the breed.
And you need to see them move.
Yeah, you see them move, and, yeah,
Well, and sometimes you don't know how much dog is under there until you get in.
It's very
because
deceiving.
of the coat.
yeah.
It can look like it's got a lot, and it's just your hands keep going in.
Yeah. So is the head in balance with the body? Is there a big enough headset on it that it goes in line with the body? Is there enough sufficient length of neck? And can you see, because sometimes you can see looking at them from the side that those shoulders are so upright that there is no flow of the shoulders, okay? You can, it's like straight down and out. Or if it's on this angle, then the shoulders are way up there and there's too much fill in behind the shoulders. So they're heavy, they're loaded. You want a nice level top line. Well coupled, meaning we don't want slap sides. We don't, and we want a full rib cage with a very short loin. Well coupled, meaning short loin, okay? And with the long rib cage. And if you get too long a rib cage, then you're gonna get a sloping top line. The tail is set high and carried in a curve, like a teacup. So when you're looking across the ring, if you can't see a tail, but you know it's there, that balance is wrong. If the tail's too flat on the back, you've lost your silhouette. And the nicely rounded rump from behind, like I said, if your tail set is proper and it's upright in almost that 90-degree angle, then you're gonna see shelf behind. If the tail set is coming off on a 45-degree angle from across the ring, you can tell that that croup is wrong and the whole pelvic area is wrong. So this is just an example of a puppy I took at last year's national. Somebody sent me a candid photo of her ringside, and I was just standing there in the ring, not touching the puppy. And that's the attitude, the mental attitude that you want in a dog, that the handler can just stand there, and the dog is standing perfectly normal, proud of itself, looking straight ahead, because that muzzle is level, right? The tail gently curved over. I'm not touching the tail. That was a natural stance for her. And she virtually looks like the skeleton that we have in our guide. You can see the flow of the neck into the shoulders, the level top line. You can tell that she's got forechest, and you can actually see her rump behind without feeling her. So that's the idea you want to get in your head from across the ring. Can you work out those angles without touching them? And that's where it comes into play with our judges' education, is you can look at a slide of 18 spaniel breeds and name them off the top of your head. You should be able to do the same thing with the Lhasa, the Pekingese, the Shih Tzu. This was just sent to me. Your typical cut down Shih Tzus. You can tell, see the croup on the top one is slightly lower, right? There's no rump behind. There's no bend of stifle. It's straight down. The other extreme is almost the U-neck that we were just talking about. He doesn't have her stacked properly. It's a gorgeous tail set. But when you look at the overall rectangular, it's not rectangular anymore. It's square. Even within the, like this, yes, the forechest is good.
It looks kind of freakish though.
Isn't it too much
It really-
bend stifle?
Yeah, like that's where the front and rear don't match.
Yeah, they don't
okay?
match at all.
And the front and the rear on the top line is just disgusting.
If you look at the rib cage on the lower one, it's not, low enough, it doesn't have as.
Well, it's
Well,
better than the
It's
top one.
better than the top.
I agree with that.
Okay, so the top one, you can
Yes.
put your hands in between the
Yes.
rib cage and the
I
elbows.
agree with that.
Okay, we don't want that.
I don't
The
think
bottom
either
one probably has tight elbows. So going
Yeah.
down the side, there's no elbow sticking out there. It's tight up against the body.
But how,
But
it
look
looks
at the-
like-
look at
looks
the
like
shoulder
it's hunkered
layback.
down on the hocks. It just.
But she looks like she's down on the hocks, but the front
Yeah.
doesn't give you that indication.
No.
Because she's upright on the front.
Right.
But she's over-angulated in the
It's
rear.
not matched at all.
She's not
It's not
matched.
in balance.
No. So the top is just wrong, and so is the bottom, because there's too much behind. Okay? Beautiful tail set.
And the neck looks freakish.
It looks freakish, right? And there's no fill in the bottom one. The
I'd
head.
love to see them both move.
I don't know that I would.
No,
I-
just to see how,
Maybe
Yeah.
Just
sure.
looking at it.
because you know the movement.
Well, the
is
rear's
wrong.
probably gonna drop out on the lower one. I mean,
The bottom one's gonna move like a Cocker Spaniel.
exactly.
Yeah.
It's gonna drop out and it's
Yeah.
gonna slow.
Yeah. But you're gonna get that in the ring. So that's wrong. Again, my ankles aren't good. I had a great photographer when I was in Canada, and we did all these slides in the illustrated guide, because he knew exactly what I wanted, and then shit happens, and I didn't get some of these pictures like I would have wanted to. This is the same dog. So when you're looking at a dog in full coat like that across the ring, you have to visualize this. You know, the substance, the bone density, the forechest. You can see that he's got tight elbows. The muzzle is level. He's looking straight ahead. The tail looks probably a little bit tighter there because I didn't take as much hair off as I should have. He's got nice follow through behind, not over exaggerated. It's in balance. And he was very smooth to go over.
Yeah.
You can see the substance, the spring of rib. And he's, like I said, the rectangular has to be from here to there, not in the middle.
I have a question about the black tips to the fur as it gets longer. Does that go away if you ever trim the dog?
Yeah, It grows
They'll
back
lose
in a
it.
little bit.
Yeah, some, but.
That is normal, that dog is not wrapped, that's just normal wear and tear breakage on this dog.
Mhm.
You're gonna see some dogs in the ring that have those black tips to the floor. Those are generally ears that are protected
And that can
and
drag
wrapped.
the look of the dog down
I personally
too.
don't like it because
doesn't look good. It drags all the
it
features down.
everything drags down. I like them a little bit off the ground
Right.
for the definition,
Mhm.
you know. But see, he's looking straight at you, where the top of the muzzle is, it's no higher, it's midline with the
It's-
eyes.
Yeah, mid-eye.
And he's looking straight at us. Yeah, so when you're going up to the dog, do it with confidence. Don't hesitate. I'll show you how to go over a dog just using 2 hands. You're gonna cup the dog in just your thumbs so you can feel everything on the dog. You don't have to go into the top knot. Just feel the actual skull. Your fingers will feel the skull.
But you can push on it without destroying that bubble
Yeah.
with your fingers.
And the bubble that they
And you
put on
should.
some dogs, when you go in on the top of the muzzle, you can feel it stop at the same time. And if your thumb goes in there and you can feel the slight upward, that means there's no foreskull.
Oh, they're building a foreskull.
They're building a foreskull.
Oh.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so when your thumb goes in there, you want to be able to feel the foreskull come up on its own.
Mm.
And I'll show you how to, when I examine the dog, I put my hands behind the ears and I have the dog look at me straight on. And sometimes I don't even have to put my thumb in there.
You just frame the face.
Just frame the face and that way you keep the dog's head in control. So the dog isn't gonna be moving all over and your fingers are gonna be going everywhere.
Mm.
And you want that friendly, trusting, like, I love you.
We're almost at 8. Just FYI, we're almost at 8.
Okay,
Just
well, we're
FYI.
almost, yeah.
Okay.
Am I
just
talking
thought
too much?
No, I'm just. You're giving the info they need.
Okay, so, yeah. And it is the head that gives you a lot of trouble, but that's what differentiates the Shih Tzu from all the other breeds.
You just gotta think round.
Round, well, here. They use this as a shape, and they use this as a shape.
Yeah, just use it as a shape,
As
not
a shape.
not as.
I like grapefruit. Think grapefruit, or think large orange also. Okay? You're gonna see both in the ring tomorrow.
Yeah, when you're actually thinking that in comparison to the size of one
Yeah.
of those dogs of those size.
We don't want a
Unless-
Maltese head.
No.
These are sketches that Stephen did for us.
They're stunning.
Mhm.
You want the ears falling off the side of the head, not up on top, and you're gonna find those coming off almost like a terrier head, terrier.
Do they have those long eyelashes? Is that eyelashes that they were showing on the
Yeah, they do, but
Unless
a
you
lot
cut
of us,
them off.
a lot of us trim them off because
Yeah.
it opens
It
up the
blocks the
expression.
eye.
Does it?
Yeah, and it causes eye irritation
Yeah.
and all that kind of
Mhm.
stuff. So round from all sides.
And the round eyes.
And the round eyes, yeah. I like to refer to the eyes as the same size as the nose. Because we want big open nostrils, we want a big nose, we want big eyes. So I like them all to be equal.
But you do have to realize that a small amount of white is permissible, we prefer it not, but
Right.
it is. And the way I always, when I give the seminars, I just said, because how can you tell how much is okay and how much isn't?
Mhm.
If it distracts from the soft, warm, pleasing expression, then it's too much eye white. I mean, I can't give any more than that on that, hardly.
Now the ears are a little bit too high on this dog. And you can see that there's no fill in here. Okay? What we're seeing in the breed is a lot of eyes verging on the side of the head now,
Mm-hmm.
instead of the head being round and the eyes on the forefront. We want fill in on these sides.
More of an ET look.
Yeah,
to
we're
me.
getting an ET look,
They're
definitely.
so far, yeah.
And depending on how some people do top knots, they'll bring this hair up and almost give you that oriental look. So they're pulling the hair up and destroying the look of the eyes, actually.
The eyes should be full and pretty, but they shouldn't be prominent, like you might think of Pekingese or
Right.
something. They're better set into the skull than that.
Yes, we want large, round, dark eyes, almost human-like. And they're set to the front, like I mentioned, not the sides. And the nose reaches at least to the bottom level of the eye. You're gonna see some dogs that the top of the nose is at the bottom level of the eye. We want them sort of mid-range. We don't want them above or below. Above is peak, below is Lhasa Apso. You see where the nose is almost the same size as the eyes here. You don't want the eyes hidden, and you have to watch some of the handlers and breeders are making these bubbles so big that you can't even see the eyes. They know me as a judge. I want to be able to look across the ring and see the eyes. I don't want to have to go looking for them. I want that expression looking at me. You're going to get dark faces and you're going to get open faces. Don't hesitate to put up a dark face. It's artificial. I'm not saying makeup, but you have to judge the head, not the markings. The markings are all permissible. Yes, a lot of breeders are going to that and only keeping puppies that look like that. That is just as permissible, a dark face and a dark blaze.
And dark
And
on
look
one
how
side and
pleasing
light
that,
on the other
Yeah.
is
and
perfectly.
that face is very, very pleasing.
That face is beautiful.
It's beautiful.
Yeah. Again, eyes and nose the same size. Now I put this in because judging around the world, you're gonna see all different types of top nuts. FCI standard, for example, says no, they don't permit bows, but you see them in all the countries. So this is made up, hairspray to the nines. That is your split. You're gonna see a lot, we're trying to get more to that now, the split top nut, not so much artificial stuff. Okay. That's the same bitch, just 3 different styles. How are bites these days? How are bites these days?
You see some really, really good ones, and then you just see some that are,
They used to say the Chinese would throw rice out, and if your teeth looked like rice in the mouth, it was fine. No, that's not fine, because you're
Yeah.
losing the
I prefer
roundness.
6 straight across.
I have
Yeah.
only seen one with rice teeth once, and a few years ago, and I was like, I thought we got rid of that. We hadn't seen it in 30 years, the rice teeth.
I've seen it.
But
I've seen 3 teeth and I've
yeah.
seen 6 teeth.
But I mean,
4
and they were
teeth.
like
You've
rice
seen
teeth.
3
They-
teeth?
So, anyway, keep that in mind. We want, if you've got a nice big head, you're gonna have 6 across. And when you look at that bite, you wanna be able to see canines as well as incisors. And if your head isn't big enough, you're not gonna see everything up front.
And the width of the jaw is very important.
Yeah.
Well, now, is this a thumb breed that you feel?
No.
like?
No.
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 Check the bite.
You
That's
did.
So-
what a lot of the
Yeah.
practice about.
No, it's a front examination.
The teeth and tongue should not show. Okay. That is a beautiful bite on the bottom there. Reverse scissors. You're gonna get them too far undershot, like peaks and pugs and all that stuff. You wanna look at the bite, and you wanna see 4 canines right up front. And that helps you determine if your head is big enough.
You wanna look at the overlap, I guess, of those 2.
But you don't want a receding muzzle, you know.
No, we want that oriented
We want
expression.
some,
And when you look
there
at the
should
dog,
be some underlip.
when you look at the dog, you can't see the bottom lip. You know there's probably a problem with the bite. It's scissors or over. That again is a dark face. You're gonna, like I said, run your hand down the shoulders into the legs. You want straight pillars going down, not Victorian fronts. Should be good bone, and there should be get a whole handful when you go in from the front. if I can go in from the front and take my fingers down this way, I don't generally bother going down the legs. Because once my fingers have gone down, I know that those knuckles aren't touching at the bottom. And you want the feet pointing straight ahead, but you're gonna get ever
You're
so
gonna get a
slightly
little.
turned out, yeah. Fill between the legs. You're gonna get some where there's no fill and they're very narrow all the way through. You want the elbows lower than the depth of or higher than the depth of chest. And it should be smooth from the neck into the shoulders into the top line. No lumps. And you can run your hands down the front if you want to, but I like to.
What about the length of leg? I mean, do you want the leg to be 1/3 of the body or
4, 4, and 4.
4?
Or 3, 3, and 3. If you've got a 9-inch dog, right? You want equal.
Okay.
And if you've got equal, that means your elbow overlaps on your chest. And if you look at the depth of chest to the height, there's going to be a slight overlap for numbers. So if you've got 4 inches off the ground and a 4-inch depth of chest, they're going to either meet or overlap if both are proper. The shape of this head, the top skull on this bitch is beautiful. You'll see how smaller eyes look in the with coat compared to cut down. But what's wrong with that eye? It's an almond eye. It's not a round eye. The nose placement is perfect. She looks doggy.
It's a full eye.
It's a full eye.
She looks a little coarse.
Yeah, she's coarse. She's got big houndy ears.
Yeah.
You're not going to feel the ears, so that's not going to matter. But you can see the depth of chest there and the straight legs. So that, you have to visualize that underneath his hair. It's the same dog. Half an hour later. You can see their feet are straight. You can feel the smooth, you can see the smoothness of the shoulders. Like there's no lumps there. Compared to this one. Okay? This is probably your 9-10 pound dog. The narrowness through the bottom jaw. There's no width in the head. It's flat skulled on top, fine boned. You can see through her elbows here, right there. There's no depth of chest, no fill in through the chest. In coat, she looked great. The last bitch had a perfect bite, 6 across. This was a Chinese Oriental rice match. There was no substance here, and when you opened up her mouth, it was just a mess. Both champions.
Looks like she's lax underjaw completely.
Yeah, well, it's a V-shaped
Right.
neck. It's not a round, or a V-shaped head.
Right.
It's not a round head. So they've lost everything through here, right? When you're examining the body, like I mentioned, I hold the head and my hand goes down over the shoulders through the top line. And if I can feel just the tip of the tail touching my top line as I'm going through, I don't worry about even touching the tail because I know it's going to be correct. So just maintain control of the dog because a lot of owner handlers can't do that. So to get your proper feel, keep your hand under the chin and just go down like this. And your hand should go right through the tail. If your hand stops at the tail because it's too flat, then you know that's not a good tail set. And from the front, span the chest. You don't want barrel chest, you want a nice full rib cage and follow through. What we're finding, short rib cages underneath, what do they call that? You see it in bulldogs, where the last rib is set too far up.
Oh, yeah, that it's up higher than the
Yeah,
rest of the
then you
rib.
get a shorter rib cage, so you don't get the, oh, there's a name for it.
But there should not be much tuck up to a Shih Tzu
No,
either.
it should be straight through.
Somewhat the same from the chest through the loin.
Yeah.
I mean, all dogs are gonna have a little tuck up unless they're too damn fat, but they should have very minimal tuck up
Yeah.
at the waist.
again, the coat, double coated, luxurious. And there's a good example of a tail and croup. It's an old picture though.
It still applies today though.
Yeah, you're gonna see a couple of those in the ring tomorrow.
Is that a puppy?
That's about 10 months.
10
old.
months, yeah.
Yeah.
And it shouldn't flag. You can
They can
forgive
get
puppies.
lazy sometimes.
You can get lazy and
They're
they'll,
bored or like,
Yeah. but on the move, the tail should always
Right.
be up. So those are different tail sets. So your typical 4 or 5 month old puppy on the bottom, right? A 10, 11 month old puppy, you can see where the tail is just about to the point where it's gonna like be really nice as an adult. Your top tail, the weight of the hair is bringing that tail down more because you actually have a beautiful tail.
Mm-hmm.
And then your 1-year-old dog. Now, it's as a handler and a breeder, this tail set, I accentuate it. You're gonna see that in the ring tomorrow too. Because I like to show off the
Shows
tail.
your line more better, your rump and
Yeah.
your tail, clean tail.
Yeah,
It's not
so
all this hair sticking out around the base of your
you're
tail
gonna see
and the
dogs
body.
with tails, the hair coming off the back of the tail. And it's gonna add 2 or 3 inches to the actual length of the body. But when you actually feel the tail on the table, if you feel where the croup into the tail set is and the pelvic bones, you can feel the tail come up. So and a lot of the breeders do that know what they're doing, will accentuate that area. We don't want them 10-bladed down their rump. We just want that area cleaned up so that we can show the actual height to length of the tail and the length of body. So we shorten the dog up, but we're adding the length at the same time to the body. That's an adult tail, you can tell, and that's typically a European dog, but you can see the difference even in coat.
It's got a tongue cut.
Yeah.
But a lot of theirs are they're longer and they're lower stationed.
You can
as
tell that
well.
dog is lower stationed and longer, right? But his forechest probably is way up in here. It's not where you think it is.
Yeah.
I thought it was a dog then.
So there's your silhouette, which is in your guides.
Sorry.
See what I mean about the tail set? And now if that hair is not put into there properly, it's gonna add an inch or 2 to the length of body in the dog. Same dog. Her nose was level with the eye, but it's smaller eye, you can tell from this angle. You can see the depth of chest and how tight her elbows were. And the croup, the pelvic bones behind, bend to stifle, hocks. She was a very sound bitch. The rectangular body all the way through, she was just too coarse in the head. Compared to this one, which is what you're gonna see in the ring today too.
It's cute,
Yeah,
but
but that's almost U-neck. She doesn't have the fill in through the back of the skull, right? She's fine boned,
High in the rear.
high in the rear. She doesn't have the body doesn't flow all the way through. No bend to stifle. Upright pasterns. Your tail sets again. See what I mean by when you take the hair off the tail completely, that's where it's gonna sit.
yeah, it's not touching.
It's not touching.
Yeah.
It's the weight of the hair that's gonna bring it down to the top line.
And some dogs will have longer tails than others. Sometimes some will have a little on the short side, the length of the tail.
Moving away, they're gonna converge slightly, but they're not gonna double track going away, and they're not gonna double track coming towards you. They're gonna converge slightly into the center. You don't want them coming at you like a bulldog, or going away like a bulldog
Mm.
either. There's,
And they should not have a pear shape like a bulldog.
right. But
At
you
all.
have to determine, you have to be able to train your eye to see through the coat coming and going. We're working on doing some videos as far as, updating even that presentation with this presentation. We're finally getting photographers that appreciate our dogs on the move. Like, we're not big sporting dogs with these big long legs that the photographers can concentrate across the ring on. So it's a work in progress. And we've tried with AKC 3 years in a row now, and they don't seem to like what they're seeing. They put it in some of the videos, but there's an example of a dog, and again, the head plane is important. It's not looking up, it's looking straight ahead. Eyes are level. Not too fast, we don't want them strung up.
So to me, that one looks like it has a flatter tail.
Yeah, it's a more
And
mature
part of it
dog.
could be the wind too.
Could be the
Yeah.
wind, and it's a more mature dog, but it
Yeah.
probably could have more lift to it.
A little more,
Yeah.
but it's also having to move on grass.
Yeah, and they hit the grass.
And that could, yeah.
So your natural high head carriage. You want to see movement front and rear on the side gate. You want to see the feet leave the coat both ends. None of this. And that first go around will tell you whether or not the dog is even built properly, because on the go around you can see the reach and the drive. And if you can't, then you know right away that it's probably a square little box with no angles. The top line should stay level, no bouncing.
And
Bouncing meaning rocking,
rocking, bobbing.
bobbing.
And, you know, I've seen some sloping top lines here this week. It should maintain level.
We want to be able to see rear pads going, when the dog's going away, if they have proper drive, you see the full pad looking at you from behind. We do not want to see the pad looking at you from the front. That means that they have a short upper arm, which is a problem in the breed also.
Do you all trim around the foot pad?
Hmm?
Do you trim around the foot pad?
Yeah.
Yes.
So that it be more visible?
Yeah, but they shouldn't have a lift like a Havanese, but Havanese does have a short, they want them to have a short upper arm. We don't want it that short, we want it.
So if you've got proper length of neck and proper angles, your foot is not gonna come up much past the actual head on the dog, if the dog's head is at the proper angle. Okay, you want them sort of, if they're high reaching, the footfall is gonna be farther out than the head. We don't want that. We want a nice smooth reach. And his head is carried, his eyes are looking straight ahead. Again, head level, muzzle level, right? You can see reach and drive both ends.
Yeah, that one looks fairly balanced.
Level top line,
Mhm.
tail, and the smooth, you can see the smoothness without even having to touch it. This is a mixture of males and females in different colors to give you the look that you're gonna see a different illusion sometimes on markings and colors on dogs. So you've got, like a 4-year-old dog, I think an 18-month-old bitch, a 1-year-old dog.
And your eyes can deceive you on like a solid color dog, especially black, that with no break in color, it can make it look longer.
So this dog is
It
an
may not
example.
be, you have to train your eyes.
Remember the picture of the black dog? That's that same dog.
With the dots on it.
With the
for
dots
your-
on it.
Yeah.
But on the move, you get a different illusion. His head, he's looking up a little bit too much because he's very proud, but you want this level. Okay. She's looking up a little bit too high, but again, your solid gold is gonna give you a different illusion. So you have to train your eye to see that. All colors are permissible. We don't see very many livers and blues, and you'll see them in your book, but
They're acceptable, but,
Ugh.
yeah, but we do not see them very often.
So try to get watching the shows tomorrow, try to get it in your head as what your idea of a Shih Tzu should be. And if you go over enough of them, you'll get the feel for the body. I think we can get him up now.
Him?
Yeah.
Doesn't
So I'm
want
gonna
to,
show you how to go
Are we
over a
gonna-
dog here
okay,
before we
so
go out
you are
into the other
gonna-
room. And we don't wanna bring this out to the other room because he is entered, so we don't want the exhibitors knowing that we've used a dog as an example. So, and don't hesitate to withhold. I've been doing it more often than not lately. So keep this in mind, the essential characteristics, your temperament first, then your head, your body, the gait, and your coat. We don't want clip down dogs, we don't want Lhasas, we don't want Pekingese, we want a Shih Tzu. This is an example of those two dogs again, both within range, size range, both males.
And both lovely dogs.
Yeah, but two different coat types. One more
Wasn't
feminine.
Colin like 10.5
Yeah,
pounds?
he was like 10,
small.
11 pounds, and this
That
is
was about
15, 16
15,
pounds.
16.
Yeah. Both top producers and,
Those photos
Top
were
winners
taken in
and-
2005, but those dogs could still be shown
Yeah.
today and look.
yeah.
I mean, this is what you're seeing today still.
But see the tails, what I'm saying, they both have beautiful tail sets, but the weight of this hair on this tail is pulling that dog's tail down. Where he was losing hair at this point, and he's got it looks like a higher tail set. This had major double coat, that had a thinner coat.
Do you see difference in coat, the undercoat, depending on where in the country you're judging at? Like if you go into Texas or Arizona, or do you have less?
It depends on the breeders and the area.
Okay,
It
so
really
it doesn't
does.
affect, the
Yeah, no.
weather doesn't affect it.
They're both
It could
correct.
impact how much work the coat is, and,
Right,
you know, the
right.
part of the country and the climate.
Yeah, so they're both correct, it depends on what you think of a Shih Tzu as. They both have good characteristics, and there is a size difference. I like my bitches to look like bitches and my dogs to look like dogs. However, if I'm going to special a bitch, it has to be more dog size in order to compete in my mind. No, yes?
Yeah, I mean, I've
You don't wanna
specialed
stick
quite a
out
few
like a sore
bitches, just
thumb.
like you have it, and I mean,
Yeah.
but they've been not on the small side.
Right.
You know, my smallest one I've bitch I special, which was the best in show bitch, was probably 11.5 to 12.
Yeah, not 9, 10 pounds.
No. You're gonna have a harder time. I mean, I special a boy at 10 and 11 months last year. He's a group winner, a lot of group placements. He was 9 and 10 months old, and he's like just now